Hey everyone, and welcome back to another makeup video. So in today's tutorial I have decided to focus on a client makeover, and I decided to go for a look that I know will suit absolutely everyone. As you can see, it looks really well on our gorgeous client. So if you want to see how I've recreated this makeup look, then just keep on watching. So the first step I always do when doing a makeover is I always like to prime the eye. This just means that there's a wet base for our eyeshadow to cling to, and it's just going to make the eyeshadow show up more vibrant and more pigmented. So here I've just taken the Helen E base primer, and I'm just putting this in all over the eye. The Helen E primer is quite pricey. It's £10 for a small tube of the actual product. So if you don't have this at hand, you can always go in with a concealer. The concealer that I typically like using on the eye for prepping for eyeshadow is the Revolution concealer. So if you don't have the Helen E primer or an eyeshadow primer, don't worry, you can always go in with concealer and it does just the exact same job. So I just like putting this in all over the eye, and it kind of sets the product in place, as well as creating a nice good coverage on the eye for a nice clean canvas to work on top of. So I always like to pull this out towards the side of the eye as well, and this just means when I go in with my eyeshadow, if I want to blow the eyeshadow out more towards the temple, I'm able to do so because I already have that base down. So for the eyeshadows, I'm actually using two main eyeshadows from Inglot. I'm not actually sure of the numbers of the eyeshadows because they are in a magnetic pan, and I do need a magnet to remove it to be able to see the number on the back. But any dark brown shade and any warm light brown shade will do. So what I like to do is sometimes I like to go in with the hard end of my brush and kind of scrape some product up, and then pick it up with the brushes off my brush, and then really pack this colour onto the lid. So with my dark brown shade, I like to pack it on almost halfway across the eyelid, and then I like to take it almost the whole way through the actual crease of the eye. I personally prefer working from my darkest shade to my lightest shade, especially for a look like this. With the lighter brown shade, I don't really want it to show up too much. It's basically just going to help us blow out and blend out the darker brown shade, because it is going to be our primary colour of this look. Before going in with my lighter brown shade to kind of diffuse this brown colour and make it blend out into a nice clean transition, I always like to go in with that brush that we've used to apply the darker shade and just wipe off any excess product and just blend that out ever so slightly. This will just help it transition into the lighter brown a little bit more easier, because it is so dark and it's going from a really dark shade to a lighter shade. It's always good to try and blend this out as much as possible before going in with your lighter colour. So here, as you can see, I've went in with a different brush. The key to getting a nice clean transition is definitely going in with a clean brush when changing shade. So I actually do have some product on this brush. I have the lighter brown shade, however I'm not going in as heavy handed as I did with the dark brown shade. I'm just really kind of putting the tiniest bit of product on this, because again, we just want to help blend out the darker brown. We actually don't really want the light brown to show up too much, because we want the dark brown shade to be our primary colour and the colour that we see the most. As you can see here, I'm going in with my smaller brush again and the dark brown shade, and this is just because when we did blend out with the lighter brown shade, we would have lost some of that pigmentation. So we really want to make this nice and dark again, so I'm just going back in with that dark brown shade and just topping this colour up. Now, to give it a nice structure underneath, what I like to do is go in with a wipe or just a cotton pad with some eye makeup remover and just kind of wing that out towards the side. So this is going to be a good guideline for when we go in with our eyeshadow underneath. We'll know exactly where to connect the eyeshadows together. It's also going to clean up any fallout underneath the eye. My pet peeve is when someone just goes straight in with concealer over top and like blends that in as if it's going to erase it away. but it doesn't. It makes it look really muddy and really cakey, and also adds a really awful tinge to the concealer when it's supposed to be nice and brightening underneath the eye. So always make sure that you clean up any fallout underneath. So now for my most favourite product, these are the Glamour Liquid Eyeshadows by Be Perfect. So this is the white gold one. I do believe they come in 3 different shades. Not sure of the names because I don't have them with me now at the minute. But there is a white gold, rose gold, and there's a silver. So I just take this straight from the applicator and apply this generously all over the lid. Then I like to go in with a smaller blending brush and just kind of diffuse the edges so it looks nice and blown out. I prefer this kind of look over a more of a cut crease look. I just think it looks more nice and it suits everybody's eye shape. Then what I'm doing now is I'm going to go in with a Makeup Atelier pigment glitter, and I'm just going to press this onto the center, and it's almost going to set that glitter eyeshadow in place. Because it is a liquid eyeshadow, it does tend to crease, so I'm just going in with a pigment over top to kind of set it in place. I've also used highlighters before to set it in place, and they also work really nice. But this is just a white gold, which is almost the same color, and it's just going to add a bit more sparkle and a bit more shine, as you can see I'm doing here. One of my most favourite things to do when I do this type of glam eye look is always match the inner corner with a matching highlighter as close as you can get to the pigment on the eyelid. So what I've done here is I've taken the Doll Beauty Shine Bright Highlight, and I'm just going to take this on a small blending brush and just really pack this onto the inner corner of the eye, and I want this to connect onto the actual pigment of the eyelid. So I'm going in with a smaller fluffy brush as well and just kind of connect them both together, and this is just going to really brighten and open up the client's eye. Just to make sure that the pigment transitions nicely into the brown eyeshadow, I'm just going to go in with that first brush that we used to blend out our darkest brown shade, and just whatever's left on the brush, I'm just going to use that to pat down and just kind of blend the 2 shades together. So here I'm just applying our eyeliner. So I'm just going in with a really thin line of eyeliner close to the lash line. This is just going to help us, one, hide the lash band when we do apply our lashes, and it's also going to help us create a lot more smokiness, because I am going to go in with black eyeshadow after and just kind of blend the eyeliner into the actual eyeshadow. So again, you can't really see where the eyeliner stops, and it just all blends out into one kind of smoky effect. So here, as you can see, I've just went in with a really small defined brush, and I'm just patting the black eyeshadow over top of the eyeliner first of all, just to kind of set it in place and make it look a lot more darker. And then I'm going to pack this on to the outer corner, still using a small amount of product. And then I'm going to go in with a really tiny blending brush that we use to smoke out the dark brown shade, and just kind of blend those colours out in. So for underneath the eye, I'm going to start by going in with a dark brown eyeliner, and I'm just going to place this in the waterline and drag it down underneath the lash line. And then I'm just going to go in with our dark brown and lighter brown shades and just buff that out and blend out the eyeshadow, and then that is the eye look completed. So for prepping the skin, I've just went in with a light amount of moisturiser, and then I'm going to go in with the Oh My Glam illuminator drops, and I'm just going to blend these in all over the skin, and it's going to create a nice glowy effect, especially under our foundation, because we are going to be using a matte finish foundation. foundation that I am using in this tutorial is the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop foundation, and it is in the shade medium olive. It did give a really nice finish off in this tutorial. It did look really lovely on her skin, but I do think it is more of a medium coverage foundation. The foundation does say it's a full coverage foundation, but I do believe it's more of a medium coverage foundation. It's definitely for someone more with oily skin as opposed to dry skin. I have dry skin myself and I have tried it out. I can get away with it if I do put plenty of moisturizer on and maybe mix it in with an illuminator, but on its own it's definitely really drying on the skin, and it does give a really matte finish, which is lovely, and it did turn out really nice in this tutorial. But just keep that in mind if you do want to purchase this foundation. So for concealer, I did use my absolute favourite concealer, which is the Concealing Define by Revolution, and it is in the shade C5. What I did want to mention in this video is a lot of people who come in to have their makeup done by me, they always point out that the concealer's unreal, but they do get very little product in the actual concealer tube. However, if you do pull out the wee plastic stopper, I just use my teeth, and I've probably about 4 teeth left from breaking teeth pulling it out, but if you do pull out that wee stopper, there's so much product left in the actual tube, so make sure before throwing it out, pull out the stopper and try and see if you can get any more product out of it, and I bet you will have almost half a tube left inside there. So basically I'm just applying this concealer underneath the eyes, on the forehead and on the chin, just any areas that you want to add a little bit more coverage to and maybe just brighten up a little bit more. So these are generally the areas that I would apply concealer to, so just under the eyes, on the forehead and on the chin. So as soon as I've applied the concealer, I always like to go in with a translucent powder straight away, just to avoid any creasing. So the translucent powder that I am using is the Coty Airspun powder, and I do love this for setting the concealer in place, because I also feel like it adds just that little bit more coverage. So I always go in straight away after my concealer and apply my translucent powder just in the main areas that I have applied the concealer. So that's going to be again underneath the eyes, the chin and the forehead. Now for bronzer, I am using the MAC in Deep Darkest. It is going to look really harsh at the start, but once I've applied the blusher and then we clean it up at the end, it's going to look nice and smooth and all blended together. So here, this is probably one of my most favourite bronzers, just because not only does it give a nice warm tone to the face, it's also like a setting powder almost for darker skin. So when I'm applying the bronzer, I'm also setting the foundation in place. So one, it's going to set it for longer, and it's also giving that bit more coverage whilst warming up and bronzing up the face. While I'm finishing off the bronzer here, I just want to take a minute to appreciate Caitlin's beauty. How unreal does she look with this makeup look? She just looks so flawless. We're not even finished yet. Well, please excuse me, I look absolutely stinking and I'm down to get in the camera there. But I'm down for someone to say, you look lovely too. Oh my god, no I don't. My hair looks friggin' orange and my skin's so pale white, but how amazing does Caitlin look? She just pulls this makeup look off so well, and I think this hairstyle suits her so much. Like, this is just the perfect glam for anybody, for a wedding, for a formal, for a weekend or a night out. Like, she just looks absolutely stunning. I honestly used to hate a blush so much, but now it is probably one of my must-haves when doing makeup. I just think it makes you look so much more fresh and just makes your skin look so much more, I don't know, just so much more nicer. Okay, just trust me. See, when someone comes in and they're like, no, I don't want blush on, I'm just like, please just let me put the tiniest bit on, and if you don't like it, I will take it off again. So this is just a Revolution highlight palette, and I'm just going to take more of a peachier and a pinker shade. I'm going to mix those together and just blend it into our bronzer. So there is 2 highlighting shades in it as well, and I do apply a bit more of that over top towards the end. But now I'm just taking the Coty Airspun powder and I'm going to bake underneath the bronzer, and this is just going to contour and clean up underneath the bronzer without actually having to contour. To finish off the skin, I've just dusted off that Earthspun powder, and then I'm going to spray the face with Eyeliner by Urban Decay, and then I am going to go in with, lastly, the Doll Beauty highlighter, and I'm just going to apply this to all the high points of the face. Then lastly, for our lip, I am going to go in with the Cappuccino lip liner, and then I'm going to go over top with the NYX Butter Gloss in Peanut Brittle. That, everyone, then brings us to the end of this tutorial. I hope I at least help you throughout this tutorial. If there's any other questions that you have, please leave a comment down below and I will be happy to reply to all of them, or else you can DM me on my makeup page. So any products or anything like that that I have left out that you would like to know about, just leave a comment down below and I will get back to you. And I'm sure we can all agree that Caitlin looks absolutely stunning. She looks so well in this makeup look. So again, once you're here, you can like and subscribe to my channel, and hopefully I will see you in my next video then.